Okay, we're looking at an original 911 seat from 1979 911 with the original tartan, or plaid as some people call it, cloth. This is just exactly the same as the cloth that was used on the pre-production Porsche that was featured in Excellence. That was a combination of cloth with leather. This is a combination of cloth with cork vinyl. There is a very good reproduction vinyl available to us from one of our suppliers in Germany. That's a very close match to this, so we're able to get that. And of course, we also have in stock the original cloth, and can replicate this seat exactly as it was. This is typical where they wear through, also splitting in the vinyl. The passenger seat is in pretty good condition, but this driver has seen better days. So I wanted to show you guys how it looks before, and we'll look at it as we go here. You'll notice that at this time in the 70s there, Porsche used this vinyl that has a very heavy grain. It also has a mottling effect, meaning that there's two shades here, dark, kind of an antiquing, dark and light. It's a difficult process to do in the process of manufacturing the vinyl, and it was obviously commissioned by Porsche to give the sort of fake leather look. There is a blue that's that way. I believe there's a red, and I'm trying to think of the other original colors. Not all these vinyls are available. We do have the cork available to us, but some of the other colors are hit and miss, so you can just try us, see if we can help you with it, and we're adding new stuff as we go. But there we go. That's the 1979 911 seats before, and we'll follow them through to see how they look once we complete. 1977 to 1984 standard 911 seats. You can see what we're famous for here at Heritage. Our specialty is hard to get original Porsche materials, and we got a great example to show you here. This is from a 79 in the original two-toned heavy grain cork with the tartan, plaid as some people call it, inserts. And again, very few people in the world can offer you this. Let's take a look at the vinyl first. There was also red and blue available in this, and that is very hard to get. In fact, I'm certain that the blue is not available. You can see, although we're adding all the time, so do check with us. Depends how old this video is. But anyway, you can see the mottle effect. This PVC is made with two passes of the color. Gives an antiquing or a kind of a fake leather look. They later abandoned this, but lots of the cars came this way with the cloth inserts. I think I filmed these earlier, I'm certain that I did, showing the before. Now we're looking at the after, and you can see how beautifully they turned out. We rebuilt the foams in here. We're working on some new molded foams coming soon, but as of now we're refurbishing the old ones and getting perfect results, as you can see. And you can see the back how it's finished. It has the little twin stitch on the top, and again, I've covered this in other videos, but really separates us here at Heritage from your regular upholstery shop and many of our competitors. As a matter of fact, is we have a 8mm twin needle machine that we use just for Porsche to create this double stitch across here. You can see the pad, the right raise in the pad is exactly right, so we have the great factory look. It is absolutely impossible to sew two parallel lines together. Even the best sewers, even our best sewers could never stitch 8mm apart, row after row after row. So you need a twin needle machine to do that. It's a very expensive and special machine. In fact, let's just take a little little visit over here. I just thought of this. I remember This just came in the other day. This came in from Denmark. This car is a 930 that was recovered in Denmark. There is lots wrong with this. The punch holes are terrible, but look at that stitch in. I love the Danes, great people, but holy shitaroo, that is terrible. Look at that. That's got to be a 12 millimeters that side and 4 that side, and you can see the inconsistency, and the end result is it looks terrible in a very, very expensive car. So that just won't do here at Heritage. So that's all being redone with our twin needle stitch, and we'll see that later. But back to our cloth seats here. You can see how beautifully they turned out. Okay, when you do sandwich your seats, be careful with these pieces. They need to be protected, especially the knobs here. So do put extra padding around those and take caution. As I said, we're famous for our cloth offerings. Lots of our competitors don't have access to these materials. We have a pretty large stock, and we have air freight, Munich, London Heathrow into LAX every week, so we can get them pretty quick. Not all the cloths are available, but I'm showing you in a couple here, and I've showed these in other videos. This is the Pinstripe. Again, the tartan like the other one, but in the blue and green. Really looking forward to doing this next job. There's 9 meters of this, because in the 930 we're doing, everything was done in plaid, including the door panels, the rear quarter panels, and the back closeout panel that we just looked at, the lower portion anyway. And it looks fantastic. I won't get into the details now, but it was stitched completely differently from the twin needle stitch. The early cars were done in a different way, in a very unique way, and I'll demonstrate that in a later video. We're looking at the Houndstooth, very desirable, very stylish, in style still today, and we get asked for this a lot. We can, you know, insert this into anything. And this is the corded synthetic ribbed that was used in the RS that's featured in our videos. So there's a few, and there's a lot more available. Very expensive. I can tell you that I think this roll, this 10 meter roll, it was 10 meters when it came, cost us about 2,500, close to 3,000 euros. So very expensive stuff. It's reproduced in very small batches, small runs, way less than the factory would have been able to run. The more you run, the cheaper it is. So it becomes expensive with mills running small quantities, relatively small quantities for a mill, that is. So Porsche might run 2 kilometers of the stuff, and this mill might be running 500 meters. So there's a world of difference there. So there you have it. Beautiful seats and bolsters. It looks brand new. Shall I even show off and say maybe even better than brand new? No, maybe not. But it's certainly up to Porsche factory standards. Okay, we're looking at some original 1977 911 seats in the heavy grain cork. This is from a very low mileage car. It's a very good customer. We made an exception. We don't normally do this kind of repair work, but it was a very low mileage car, as I said. So the cloth senders were worn, and we replaced them with the OE cloth that we get from Germany, and sewed them into the original seat covers. This is not an easy thing to do, because it had been done once before, and the seams allowances had been compromised, so it becomes a lot more difficult to do this type of work than it is to do brand new. It's much easier for us to produce the whole thing than to unpick, and the patterns have to be slightly altered to fit the original covers. But anyway, the results were very good, as you can see. I'm sure the customer's going to be pleased. So we can see the finished results here on a mid-70s 911. The cloth inserts, on the rear seats were the only thing that was required for this. Again, we made an exception to our rules. We don't normally do small repairs like this, where the customer wanted to reuse the original leather, and of course you saw this in an earlier video where we made these complete new pads, and you can see the final results are excellent and has the look and feel of the original pads, but will in fact last much longer. And again, our trademark dead straight and correct 8mm twin needle stitching on this factory OE cloth from Germany. 911 rear seat pads. We looked at this before, how they disintegrate, and this one's very bad. This one's in good condition, and we showed you how we can take something that's in good condition and reseal it. When they're this bad, they need to be replaced, and we have our own way of doing this here at Heritage. Here's the end results. We get great results with this. It's heavier than the original. It stays in better shape, so it doesn't distort. When it's glued into the car, it stays put. It does a great job. This little divot that you see in here is not noticeable when the cover goes on, because the leather comes right up against this, and then it has the same profile as the original. And it's proprietary. The way we do this is our own technique, but again, we get great results. So we'll look at that when it's trimmed up, and we'll see how they turn out. Okay, Porsche guys, here's some stuff that should put a smile on your face. We at Heritage have good stock and good access to original OE cloth materials that are extremely difficult to find worldwide. We have the most popular, the big kahuna, I call it. Here we go. There we go. It is the Houndstooth, and it's OE manufactured, and exactly as was in the early cars. We've also used this nicely as inserts for even GT3 seats and other things. It looks fantastic. Nice retro look. Here's a nice tartan that we're about to use in combination with leather. This is a pinstripe that's used in 924s and also 911s. We've used this quite a few times. Of course, the Pasha pattern, which is very distinctive and always a good look. This is probably the most popular color. We use this in the very first turbo off the line, #1. It's featured on our webpage, and this was the corded material that we used in that original RS that's also featured on our webpage. The black cord, we use that in conjunction with the vinyl. And so there's just a small selection, lots of other, not everything is available, but we do have many and most of the original cloths available to us. Okay, Porsche guys, let's have a closer look here at some lovely sports seats, mid-70s, factory original Vaccaro, Pasha inserts, the original Pasha that we get from our supplier in Germany. Notice again the detail with the twin stitching from our 8mm machine for perfect results. All the foams are original but rebuilt in-house so that they function as brand new. And you can see the lines of our work are absolutely perfect. And we have the center console, leather covered with again twin needle stitch here at the front, and the wrap on this is again without creases. Very difficult to do this well. Center choke line still on this one. You guys have to clean that off in shipping, but you can see how the rear seats turn out. We reseal the horsehair. Of course it's not horsehair, but a lot of people refer to it as that. It's coconut matting, fibrous materials. We put a layer of glue type product on the back and finish them off, so paint them with a flat black so they look good, and they're ready to glue into the car. And take a close look at the rears. If the customer hasn't taken care of it, we semi-gloss, satin gloss paint the hardware. And again, great example. These had the original carpet on the back, but the customer doesn't have the straps, so the carpet didn't go back on yet. And it's quite striking. It's a very cool pattern and classic Porsche. Okay guys, continuing here. This is factory tartan cloth for mid-70s 911 that we're doing. Actually one of the first turbo off the line, #1. And so there's some more example of factory cloth. We have very good access to original materials from Europe. We stock many of them and have a great source for them. They're very difficult to get, these original materials, as I'm sure you guys will know. Again, an overview of these. There we go. 1976 911. I'm sorry, 930 turbo. So here we go guys, look at that, isn't that beautiful? Tartan plaid, very hard to get. We're very proud of this offering here at Heritage. We direct import and we have a pretty sizable stock of original OE cloths for Porsche. Took quite a bit of research figuring out exactly how the factory did this, and we finally got there. The answer being, well, let's see. The best way to describe it is that there's a tufted look on the seats. So the cushion and the rear backrest, the small, and also on the front seat itself. And then it was plain cloth on the rear panel, side panels, and door panels. Now what makes this tricky for us to do, and would have been the same for Porsche, and took some head scratching, was to get the pattern to line up. This lineup runs right the way through the quarter panels, doors, and if you notice when we do the pleating, we're stitching right down here and across on the green essentially. When that happens, it pulls the cloth, reduces the overall size, so the box here becomes a different size. It's still irregular, it's slightly longer on one side than there is the other, and you can see the larger version there when it's not sewn that way. Of course, we in previous videos you can see how we do the reworking of the seat pads themselves. But you can see how beautifully this turned out, how stunning it's going to look in the car. You can see the our hallmark Heritage punch speaker holes, and in this particular case our reproduction fiberglass top panel. The other one was in very poor condition. So there we have it. I'll take a close look at the seats. I'll bring them over this side of the table, and we'll well, maybe I'll just go aerial. How's that? There we go. I guess a better look. You can see the cushion and the backrest, and of course some nice close-ups of the stitching for the twin needle stitching, and also again the pleated sections. You can really see the emphasis. It's a very subtle padding. We again experimented to get that perfect factory look, and we've achieved it here, as you can see. So I think all in all, great results, and the customer's going to be very happy with this, I'm sure.